waiteth for thee, O God, in Zion. And unto thee shall the vow be performed. O thou that hearest prayers, unto thee shall all flesh come. Iniquity prevails against me, and as for our transgressions, thou shalt purge them away. Blessed is the man whom thou choosest, and causest to approach unto thee, that he might dwell in thy courts. We shall be satisfied with goodness of thine house, even of thy holy temple. By terrible things in righteousness wilt thou answer us, O Yahweh of our salvation. Who art thou, who art the confidence of all the ends of the earth, and of them that are afar off upon the sea, which by his strength setteth fast mountains, and being girded with power, which stilleth the noise of the seas, and the noise of their waves, and the tumult of the people. They also that dwell in the uttermost parts are afraid at any tokens. Thou makest the outgoings of the morning and evening to rejoice. Thou visitest the earth and waterest it. Thou greatly enrichest it with the river of God, which is full of water. Thou preparest them corn when thou hast also provided for it. Thou waterest the ridges thereof abundantly. Thou settlest the furrows thereof, and thou makest it with showers, soft showers. Thou blessest the springing thereof. Thou crownest the years with thy goodness, and thy paths drop fatness. They drop upon the pastures of the wilderness, and the little hills rejoice on every side. The pastures are clothed with flocks. The valleys are covered with corn. They shout for joy. They sing. They also sing. All praises to the Most High. Psalms chapter 65. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me in my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forever. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, you're walking with Mr. Clay. I'm Mr. Clay, and we thank God for you, and you. And we also give God the praise for those of you who have been with us since the beginning, and those of you that have been with us here and there's about. And we thank God for those of you that have just subscribed, and those of you that are about to subscribe, calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes, all praises be to him who inhabits all things. You know, we misjudge God. We judge God in every way, according to our standards. We say he's the creator. We want him to be this tiptoeing through the tulips, loving God. He is that. But yet he has a prerequisite for you. You just can't say, God, you meet my expectations. God don't meet your expectation. You meet God's expectation. You meet the creator's expectation of you. The same thing of me and anyone else who would follow and who would name the name of the Most High. He's not here to be your Esau's walking or love thy neighbor or love the way you define love. See, this is where you get it wrong. Your definition of love is what you judge God by. But God's definition of love is different. His definition of love is his statutes, laws, commandments, and ordinances. Did not even your fictitious Esau say, if you love him, you will obey his commandments, although he has no commandments? God has given the commandments, period. He's given commandments all the way back from Adam. He's given the commandments all the way back from Noah. They were carried over the flood. For some reason they were lost, pushed aside. Maybe in Egypt they were pushed that way, or some way they were pushed aside, and God reissued these commandments, but they were specifically for the children of Jacob. These shall be unclean to you. This you will do all the days for eternity. This is God's commandments. And then they turned around and said, oh God, all that thou sayest that we will do. That was the covenant. And there was a sacrifice behind it. But nevertheless, we thank God for you, and you. And we're in the book of First Kings chapter 9. Yes, First Kings chapter 9. Solomon prayed. So we can see where they had this prayer just before the death of Esau. He prayed. Whatever, that's a joke. But Solomon prayed for Israel. He prayed for those, even those who would come and fall under the prerequisite that God had given to Israel, even his laws, commandments, statutes, and ordinances. That one of them was pray toward Jerusalem. You may not have a sacrifice, but pray toward Jerusalem. Pray toward the temple. That was one of his prayers. He asked God to have mercy upon those that would pray. Yes, he did. He asked God to have mercy. Read that chapter again, 1 Kings chapter 8. And we were about the 25th verse, the 25th verse of 1 Kings chapter 8. On down. This man was on his knees praying with his hands lifted up toward heaven, praying. At that time, Solomon was straight with God. This whose mother was an Hittite, his father a Judean. Yes, he was. Some of you might disagree, but how can you prove he wasn't? She wasn't. She was the wife of an Hittite, and most Israel, by common deduction, by most, the law and the way the Israelites were, they did not marry those that were still in the land. But the fact is, nevertheless, Solomon eventually loved her and he married her. Although he did what he did, he suffered greatly for it, and God forgave him. For I will have mercy upon whom how will God have mercy upon you? Is it just because you say have mercy? No. It's according to your heart. This is how God will have mercy upon you. See, we have to understand the lesson from those who were in here. Is God evil because he had just had mercy on David and David got away with murder? God is a just judge. He's a just judge. Just because a wicked man with a wicked heart that's continually wicked say, have mercy on me, God is not going to have mercy on you. Just because you're going to sit up there and do hideous and doleful and ludicrous things, God, and then it's still in your heart to do so, and he knows it, he's not going to have mercy nor forgiveness. He judged according to, he said, I judge according to your intentions. That means, what are you deep inside? You cannot fool God. Why do you judge God? Why do you think God is this hideous person that destroys thousands and millions of people? God will send a nation on another nation just to get rid of it because their hearts are evil. God will let calamity come. He would put one down and bring one up that people might fear, if they acknowledge God in all their ways, even as according to Psalms chapter 37. Lean not to your own understanding. Some of you are so selfish, you think everybody got to play into your explanation of things. They got to feel sorry for you. No, God don't. He don't feel sorry for you if your heart is wicked. That's why mercy sits above the law. Mercy judges according to the heart. What was your intention? This is what he means by heart. David was a man after God's intentions. Are you a person after God's intention? God knows the flesh is weak. But was your flesh weak because of your temptation? You couldn't help it? Or you was caught in a situation that it happened? Or you was intentionally going into things because you're wicked and lustful, or should I say, lust is not evil in itself. Your, should I say, sensual, lustful, covetous heart. See, we got to call a buck in these day and times. We got to be truthful with ourselves. Am I just plain old wicked, or am I just plain a lover of God and his way? Were you tempted in your time of temptation because you were drawn? Or you was tempted because you already knew what you wanted to do and you did it. And you're going to continue to do it. This is where mercy comes in at, and this is where damnation comes in at. Don't play with God. He sees your inner thought. He sees your intention. You can play with me. I can't see these things. You can play with your neighbor or your family or your wife or your husband, but you cannot. God sees right through you. Your intention he sees. We're going to leave it in the today's English. The intentions of God are pure, and the law is not sang about in vain, that it makes the law of the Lord, or the I am, is pure, making wise the simple. And it will make you poor or pure if you ingest those same things. Now with that, we're going to continue on into 1 Kings chapter 9. And it came to pass when Solomon had finished building the building of the house of the I am, and the king's house, and all Solomon's desire, which he was pleased to do, that the I am appeared to Solomon the second time. Now, was it actually the I am that appeared to Solomon, or did he dispatch a spirit from himself as he had appeared unto him in Gibeon? No, God doesn't appear like that. No man can see. Even he said that to Moses. You can't see my face and live. No, he didn't appear to him like that. No. Even when he delivered, there was an angel that sat down with him in the mount, a very holy angel that beheld the face of God, that talked to him. There were angels, with the 24 elders that looked like elders. It's in the book of Enoch. They stole it and put it in the book of Revelation. But you still believe the book of Revelation, don't you? Yes, you do. Oh, tools. But either way, and the I am said unto him, I have heard thy prayer and thy supplication that thy house made before me. I have hallowed this house. In other words, my presence, God's presence, went in that house, and that house therefore became holy, which thou hast built to put my name there forever. To put my name there forever, and mine eyes and my heart shall be there perpetually. Well, forever, as long as it's built. Now, look at this. He says, and if thou walk before me as David thy father walks, in integrity of heart and in the uprightness, to do according to all that I have commanded thee, and will keep my statutes and my judgment, then I will establish the throne of thy kingdom upon Israel forever. Then, now he was not just talking to Solomon, he's talking about his seed too. He already said that earlier. His name. Yeah, his name is there in Jerusalem. Presence is not, but his name is there. Okay. Maybe that means for something. But it's desolate. When God's name is there and his presence is there, what is happening? You're going to have prosperity. Prosperity from the ground. Prosperity nothing is peace everywhere. This is God. Is his name there right now? By what I see and what I know and what he says, no, it's not there. The gold is stolen. The holies of holies been ramshacked. And people still trying to be identified after a pagan manner. Doesn't matter whether you Israelite or not. What matters is that you keep his commandments, statutes, ordinances, and laws. This is a person after God's own heart. His intention toward doing what the I am have commanded Israel. Then I will establish thy throne. Verse 6. But if ye shall all turn from following me, ye or your children, and will not keep my commandments. This is the stipulation. God, you see, your Jesus, you say that he say, if you can, he says the same thing, but the fact is, you say that it doesn't matter. I am sinless. I can kill, steal, and destroy. make war, pillage, molest little boys, little girls, and women and stuff, and I'm forgiven. You's a liar, deceived by the Satans themselves. He says, but if ye shall at all turn from following me, ye or your children, and will not keep my commandments and my statutes which I have set before you, but go after and serve other gods and worship them, even your Isis. You made him out of a god. Or they made him out of a god, and you still believe that. Your eyes are still closed. Your mind is still in a matrix. So you have another god. Your Isis is another god. But yet you can't see for looking that he's talking about the God of the Old Testament, and he's making himself a God with that God, or those devils that have put that stuff there are doing this. Ooh, you blaspheming. No, you're blaspheming. Now, if ye shall put, now this is out of your ignorance. And many of us, we have been blaspheming out of our ignorance because we did not know. We were pushed aside, but if by the mercy of the Most High that we are taken out of the matrix and made to see the whole thing plainly, people are going to move away from you. Folks are not going to like you. They're not going to be a part of you because they're so used to the matrix today, and even those that call themselves Israelites. It's not going to happen. Am I playing a mind trick on you? No, I'm talking to your mind. I'm reading straight from the book. I don't know where you get your stuff from, because I used to get my stuff where you get your stuff from, or your understanding. But if you shall turn from following me, you, your children, but go and serve other gods, I'm going down to the bottom of verse 6, and worship them, then I will cut off Israel out of the land. I will cut the children of Jacob, which was called Israel, out of the land which I have given them. This is why this place is filled with those who call themselves, Palestinians. You're not there, Jacob. You cast out. And you still insist on following the heathen and following paganistic ways. Even in your camps. Everywhere you go, you're doing those things that are not right with the Most High. You're worshiping an idol. You idolize man. The same thing that God, in all his meekness, stood back and says, they don't reject you, they reject me. Many of you still reject God for a man. Now you're trying to make that man a God. You done messed up. And still doing it, and can't see for looking. You've been turned over to a reprobate mind. You've been turned over to a seared conscience, to worship idols, your crosses, your your little backwards fringes that you wear, looking like a curtain walking around, instead of doing that and investigating what God is saying as far as that's concerned. No, you're looking at the wrong thing. You're really looking at the wrong thing. You need to really pay attention. Now he says, now let's continue. Look at it, he says, and then I will cut off Israel out of the land which I've given them, and this house, the house you built him, your ancestors built him. He said, I will cut it off. His name is not going to be there. But if you last forever, he's going to last forever. God's love is not without condition. Didn't he just pray, if you just seek and humble yourself and turn toward the temple and pray and ask God to forgive you, and with the intent of your heart of doing his commandments, statutes, and ordinances and laws? He's going to heal you from your sin sickness. He's going to cause you to do those things which are right. He's going to be there with you. He's not going to, where two or three are gathered in his name, he's not going to be with you. Jesus might, that other God or whatever you call him. He's going to be with you. But no, the creator of all things, Not just men, but all beings and things and everything. He's there in your midst by virtue of your heart. And that's going to draw him. And that you have proven yourself. It's not by man's standard. God sees your heart. Just how come he can come to a man after he just repents, and they say, oh, where is God? Where is God? Your heart's still evil. Your heart is deceitful upon all things. He said, but I will try your intentions. They try to trick you. I will try to range. Watch for those Greek things that come in. They're lying. They're sensual. They're after the flesh. They appeal to your emotions. They appeal to your sorrowfulness, your sobness, and feeling sorry for yourself. But God says, hey, I'm going to treat you like a woman, and I'm going to treat you like a man. You're responsible, and you're going to do it right the way I told you to. What are you, a child, or are you an adult? Are you one that needed milk or farina or something, or can you eat a cracker? Can you crunch on a corn chip? What can you do? This is the way Israel were always whining because things didn't go their way. Let's continue. I can keep going. He says, but if ye shall turn from me, in verse 6. Now, verse 7. Then will I cut off Israel out of the land which I've given thee, in this house which I've hallowed for my name, and I will cast out of my sight, and Israel shall be a proverb and a byword among all people. Now your Isis came back, and he come back quoting God. Oh, this. So God said it first. He said, this house will not stand if you turn from following me, and that's what they did. The temple is not there. The temple that you've seen behind me is not there. It's down, it's cut off, it's in half, the stones are gone. Oh, I tell you, he made a prophecy. That wasn't nothing new. Brother, sister, no stones shall be left upon one another. That wasn't nothing new. He told you right here. And this house which is high, everyone that passeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss, and shall say, why hath the I am done this unto this land? It's desolate. Jebus, desolate. Jerusalem, desolate. The house of David, desolate. No one lives there. They call themselves with their sinful self, and they're non-Israelite, not even of the seed of Jacob, even trying to build a piece of mess that they're building over in another Jerusalem that's not even right. Come on here. And they shall answer, because they forsook the I am their God. Now look where you get this New Testament stuff from. Look at it. Look at it hard. Pay attention to what doctrine you are believing. They got you good. They got you. They had me. They got you. They got you. Got you, sister. They got you, bruh. Got you bad. You got your little preachers running around with their little ties and suits thinking they got a new revelation from God. Where you get that revelation from? Is that really God? Did you get that revelation from? Is it according to Scripture? Can you just read right out of the Bible and just boom, pop out at you? No, it's all your opinion. Your imagination. And this is high, and it passeth, and astonishing shall hiss and say, why hath the I am? This is what the Arabs are saying today, those that they call Arabs. Egypt left God. Israel left God. All those in that whole Japheth, Shem, and Ham, all left the Most High. And what is happening? South Africa struggling. Sudan put in a cesspool because they left the one and only creator. I don't know what you call him, but you know what you call that one creator. We ain't talking about your witches and all your idols. We're talking about even the Congo leaving God, and then you have to deal with doleful and hideous people that are nasty and dirty because you want to serve this Isis. You better come out from among that stuff quick, and you better come out in a hurry. Once you begin to do those things which are right before the Most High. I'm watching this thing that's coming out of the motherland with this sexual stuff. This stuff was the thing that was happening that God brought you under anyway. You're taking and patterning yourself after the West. Virginity is like a taboo. A man that listens to his mother and follows after his father. Just like, oh, you stupid. Many of us have forsaken our elders, and we've caused ourselves to be taken in a frenzy. The elders have become so perverted. Oh, we got a long way to go, my friend. Long way to go. Now let me read on. Verse 9, and because they forsook the Lord their God who brought after, or their owner. Lord means owner. In this context, we're going to say owner. Or Yahweh, or the I am their God, who brought forth their fathers out of the land of Egypt, and have told and taken hold upon other gods and have worked. Now God even made you to forget him. Now you don't know whether your heads or tail. We Egyptians, we come from Egyptians. He went to the north, to the south, and all this. You don't even know how the land was situated and how God divided lands and caused lands to come together. You don't even see that because he hadn't showed you nothing. And if he did show you, you won't believe it no way, because Satans have thrown a monkey wrench in there. It calls science, stupid science, lies. Some sciences are good, but those sciences that don't make sense, they're not. They don't make sense. And at his house, if you take this word of the Most High and you compare it with the lands today, I'm talking about from the book of Enoch to the book of Malachi, or should I say to the end of what they call the Dark Ages, you're going to find out that it's true. There's a few misconceptions. You got this Greek, Greek type thought patterns in here, but you have to look at it. The word love, that's the stupidest thing ever. Stay in the English language, go in the Hebrew language, in the ancient Hebrew language, and find what is love. Did they say love back then? That's what the Greeks translated. Oh, that's love. What is love? They don't even know what love is. Nobody knows what love is. But we can measure how a person feels about us by the law. Yes, we can. Let me continue. And at this house which is high, and everyone that passeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss and say, why hath the I am thus unto this land and to this house? And they shall answer, because they forsook the I am their God, who brought their fathers out of the land of Egypt, and have taken hold upon other gods, and have worshipped them and served them before. Therefore hath the I am brought upon them this evil. See, evil is whatever is detrimental to you. And it came to pass at the end of 20 years, when Solomon had built the two houses, the house of the I am and the king's house. Now Hiram, the king of Tyre, had furnished Solomon with cedar trees and fir trees and with gold, according to all his desires. That then King Solomon gave Hiram 20 cities in the land of Galilee. And Hiram came out from Tyre to see the cities which Solomon had given him, and they pleased him not. Why? And he says, what city are these which thou hast given me, my brother? And he called them the land of Kabul unto this day. Didn't like them. Now Hiram sent to the king 60 talents of gold. He gave him some money. 60. What is that? What is a talent of gold? Today that would be worth a lot of money. And this is the reason of the levy which King Solomon raised to build the house of the I am, and his own house, and Milo, and the wall of Jerusalem, and Hazor, and Megiddo, and Gezer. Now these things God did to try Solomon in all his wisdom. Did he see that the Most High was allowing him to be tried with money? Now you had one, he was tried with going were deviating from the commandments or what God had instructed him. That was Saul. And then you had his father, which basically could not control himself as far as seeing a man that he thought he could get away with in murdering this lady's husband, because he, out of all the women that he had, probably much beautiful than she was, he wanted her. Okay, then he had a son after this same woman whom he had committed his trespass with, that he gave the kingdom of Israel to. Now this one is getting, he started out good at the end. His heart was right at the time that he dedicated the Most High's temple. Yes, his heart was right. Yes. Heart was pretty good. I mean, God sent him, but some years passed now. And Hiram sent 6 talents of gold. 12. 3 times 6 is 18. Woo, that's a lot. And this reason, let's go to 16. And for Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, had gone up and taken Gezer and burnt it with fire, and slain the Canaanites that dwell in the city, and given it for a present unto his daughter, Solomon's wife. So there was really a connection between Egypt and Israel because of Solomon's wife. Now that's nothing new, because Moses married an Egyptian. He even had a wife that was a Sudanese, as we would know that country today. She was Sudanese. She was born in the land that's called Sudan. But he never had relations with her, no kids or nothing like that. And she was mad at him. Read the book of Jasher for more information on that one. Now, Gezer and Beth Horon, neither at Baalath. They're still worshiping, still having this name of this devil or this Satan. And Talamador in the wilderness, in the land. And all the cities of store. And Solomon had the cities for his chariots and the city for his horsemen, that which Solomon desired to build in Jerusalem. Don't that remind you of some of these on the continent? They remind you some of these. And then in these lands today, how these politicians enrich themselves, the presidents wearing designer clothes, and why they putting very heavy taxes on the people, while the people are cursing their very name every time they breathe, and their heart beats, because they are making the people to howl. And all the people that were left of the Amorites, Hittites, and Perizzites, Hivites, Jebusites, which were not of the children of Israel, their children that were left after them in the land, whom whom the children of Israel also not able to utterly destroy, upon those did Solomon levy a tribute of bondservice unto this day. The day that this was written. This was written in Hebrew. Okay? At that point, at that day. But the children of Israel did Solomon make no bondmen, but they were men of war, and his servants, and his princes, and his captains, and rulers of his chariots, and his horsemen. Remind you of people that's today having to battle Russia. They trying to be the police of the world and everything. It's similar. But Pharaoh's daughter came up out of the city of David unto her house which Solomon had built her. Then he built Milo, and 3 times a year did Solomon offer burnt offerings and peace offerings upon the altar which he built unto the and he burnt incense upon the altar that was before the So he finished the house. Yes, he was still trying to do that which was right in the house of the Most High. He was getting the money from those who were not Israelites. And King Solomon made navy ships. Oh, you trying to say that they didn't have a navy? Israel had a navy. Yes, Israel had a navy. Army and navy and everything else. He didn't have the other ones were laborers, the second-class citizens, or the ones that were serious about God, and they allowed them to live as long as they paid taxes and, did what they supposed to do. And he had a navy, according to this here, which is beside Eloth, on the shore of the Red Sea. You know, it's the Red Sea right there. That was the land of Israel. But today, that's not. Israel was supposed to have been on this side, on that side of the Nile River, all the way up to the Euphrates River. And then a little bit before you get to the Jordan. All that area supposed to have been Israel. And 3 times a year, it says now in verse 26, King Solomon made a navy of ships. And 27, let's keep going. And Hiram sent in the navy his servants, shipmen that had knowledge of the sea, with the servants of Solomon. And they came to Ophir and fetched from thence gold. Have you heard of the gold of Ophir? They came to Ophir. Where's Ophir? Where's Ophir? Some say it's Ethiopia. Some say it's Kenya. Ophir. From thence gold, 420 talents, and brought it to King Solomon. Ophir. Let's get these map things right. Where's Ophir? Where the gold is, because they had to travel on top of the, should I say, the Red Sea. They had to get across the Red Sea to get to Ophir. So Ophir was somewhere in Africa. Some of you read that wrong. You thinking that that was supposed to be Jerusalem. But Ophir was an African country. Or should I say down below the Sahel. Let's get it right here. I want you to do some studying. I ain't gonna tell you everything. Start getting lazy in the head just like I was at one time. Look it up. Because soon as somebody tell you just like that, you forget it. Pow! They done put something like pop the balloon in your head, which is beside Eloth and on the shore of the Red Sea in the land of Edom. Which is, it says that King Solomon had made a navy which is beside Eloth on the shore of the Red Sea in the land of Edom. Okay, you go by the mountains of Edom, right there, you go down to the Red Sea, that's where the navy was. And Hiram sent in the navy his servants, and they came to Ophir and fetched then gold, 420 talents, and brought it to King Solomon. This man had a hefty, should I say, levy on the people of Israel at this time. But yet God honored Solomon because of Solomon having the desire to please God and not only building his house, but study building it up, making it elaborate, making God his king. And people would come from all over Israel and all over the land just to see the temple of the Most High. Some even come just to see Solomon's house. But if we follow those things that God says, his name can be in us. His name can be with us. It's in us because of his laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances, and then we will have peace.
Walk with me.